we have in round 3 of who would win, we have Predators versus Glory Girl and Antares, both under their human name of Victoria Dallon. So, Victoria Dallon, Glory Girl / Antares, is from the web serials Worm and Ward, the superhero universe. The Predators are obviously from their Predator franchise and Alien vs. Predator franchise. The Predators are an alien species of intergalactic hunters. They have various forms, but they aren't really like separate species per se. They're just more like, different groups from different parts of the planet or different planets, depending on the canonicity of several comics. So we got the basic hunter. He's from the first movie, and we kind of see hunters from Predator 2 and Predator 2010 and in Predator 2018. We have the feral predator, which is technically the same as a hunter, but it's just from a different region of the planet / planets. And he's thinner, not as tall, and with ancient weaponry from the 18th century. So instead of having the typical weaponry that most predators have, it would be more, not, I don't want to say like old school tech, but it's definitely not as high tech as usual. Also, the names are, the predator's species name is called the Yautja, or Yautja. I've seen people argue about it, I'm not entirely sure. So, we have that. We have the super predators, which are technically bigger predators. They are stronger, larger, bulkier. And we have the upgrade predators, which are super soldier predators that are given different DNA from different aliens to bolster their efficiency. The bog standard hunter predators aren't really armed like soldiers. They are armed like, well, hunters. So they have a plasma caster, which is a laser weaponry or plasma weaponry that can penetrate through steel. They have minimal armor that also can resist bullets. They have metal wrist blades, spears, smart discs / shuriken that can. All of this is like super metal that can cut through normal steel. In Predator 2, when they examine the chemical compounds that make up the metal of a spearhead, they're like, this doesn't even exist on our planet. We don't even know how this could have been made. We have cloaking tech, obviously. All the Predators have cloaking tech, but it's not exactly infallible. You can kind of see a blurry outline. For some reason, whenever they're wearing a mask, their eyes glow occasionally. If they're touching water, it starts to blitz out a little bit into like electrical sparks. And especially if they are completely submerged, the cloaking just gives out for an unknown amount of time. Okay, they all have booby traps to a certain extent. Like they have plasma landmines, laser landmines. I think the feral predator had these floating discs that can chop down entire forests. I'm trying to also think of anything else. Booby trap. Oh, I think the super predator had one that was like some kind of weird spear booby trap that like impaled someone, then it sprouted more spears from inside of them. The suicide bomb, of course. Only the hunter predator, I think, is shown to have that. The super predator doesn't show it. The feral predator doesn't have it. He just has those floating discs. The upgrade predator, I don't believe, had one. Yeah, just the hunter predator, and he did that only as a spiteful, suicide attempt to get one over on Arnold. And in the second Predator movie, they tried to do it on Danny Glover and blew up LA. So he tried that and failed. So it can be stopped by cutting the wrist watch kind of thing, wristband bomb thing that you can cut in half and it'll disable the bomb, which is movie logic. The upgrade predator is like, instead of having a helmet or armor on top of it, he wears this giant exoskeleton. He has all the helmet attachments inside of his brain, like as implants. So he doesn't need a helmet. He's super huge, he's like 10 to 12 feet tall. When one of the predators try to punch him with okay, so to get a good idea of predator strength here, the average hunter predator can punch through log trees. The feral predator once killed a bear with one punch after he did have to fight the grizzly bear for a few minutes and was pushed back a little bit. But once he got pissed off enough, he just one-shot KO'd that giant bear. And I think killed it by snapping the neck from that punch. Then lifted that bear up with both arms and ripped it open from guts to neck. And in the Predator 2018 movie, one of the hunter predators is so angry that he punches a thick metal desk and leaves a giant fist-shaped dent in the metal. So one of those predators open up with their wrist blades, punched at the upgrade predator's abs, and the wrist blades broke off. The upgrade predator then proceeded to, I think, headbutt the mask off of the normal hunter predator. And I'm not talking oh, it fell off. It shattered to bits, then caved in the hunter predator's skull with one punch. I think he also broke his arm, but you know what? That's just good. I'm just restating the obvious here, but upgrade predator is on an entirely different level of OP. So 4, Glory Girl. Glory Girl is a 2011 iteration of Victoria Dallon. Just 1 second, let me adjust. There we go. So Victoria Dallon in 2011 is Glory Girl. She's been a cape for around 3 years-ish. I believe there's some debate on whether it was 2.5 or 3 years because it's used interchangeably. But either way, she's an experienced cape by this point. She's trained by her superhero family of New Wave. She's trained in basics of grappling, judo, various martial arts. She's sparred with family that includes laser weaponry, laser swords, grenades, super strength, etc. She's trained in various superhero mental training Master Stranger Protocol, so she knows when she encounters say certain capes that are more assassin-y, I guess is a good way of putting it, to be on the lookout for that, or attacks that mess with her perception. So she has very academic knowledge of cape world and powers in general. As for her own power, she has a personal force field that surrounds her body and costume. This force field allows her to do incredible feats of superhuman strength, such as swing the school bus around like a baseball bat, lifting cement mixers. I believe it's mentioned that her lifting strength was 14.5 tons, and before that it got a little bit difficult to measure. Her striking strength is a little bit unknown at this point because we don't actually see her use her full strength to hit anything until a ward, and by then she's stronger. But as Glory Girl in Brockton Bay in 2011, a simple half-hearted kick can send a dumpster flying 30 or 40 feet away and just absolutely demolish some guy that was clipped by it. Absolutely destroy his entire inside of his body, fractured all of his bones, and I think had internal massive bleeding. He would have died. He was a Nazi, so we don't care. We don't see much of her strength at these points besides casually cracking ground. A single finger poke can shove a person against the wall. And I think she easily flies through glass and craters ground from landing. Oh, and she can fly at speeds of around 80 miles per hour at her top speed. Her casual speed is 45 miles per hour, and that's not even her trying. Force field means that things don't stick to her. It's kind of like how water slicks off glass, but instead of water, it can be acid, bugs, dirt, wind, heat, cold, laser weaponry, all that stuff. It can block bullets, it can block explosives, it can block punches, etc. She has an aura around her that she can control. We've learned later the aura extends up to 100 feet around her, and it's weaker the farther away you are, but it can bypass all obstacles. So you could be inside of a building, and she can be outside of it, and she can just blast that aura, and you'd immediately know oh shit, Glory Girl's here. And you can tell where her general direction is. Strong enough to briefly stun people. It's not a mind control. It's more an emotional slap or punch. And certain people can be stunned and paralyzed depending on how it works, or how hard it's hit. Taylor's different because there's a theory that I have that since her aura can also affect bugs, and Taylor Hebert / Skitter controls bugs, that this is actually her influencing Taylor multiple times via her swarm. That's my theory. But she can also use it to stun people who are already terrified of her, and it increases its power. Or people who are already adoring her can also increase her power because it makes her opponents feel fear and her allies will feel awe. That's the broad stroke for me. Her force field does have a weakness. It's that while it can stand up to normal punches, kicks, grabs, and stuff, after a certain point of damage level, it will pop. And it takes 1 second at its best or 2 seconds at its worst for it to reform. So a bullet will pop it, and she's vulnerable for a second. Or, something so she can't really stand there and tank machine guns, or someone with like a rapid fire pistol. She can handle shotguns fine because her force field allows her to count like debris and scatter shots or fragmentation grenades as a single blow, or RPGs, explosions and shrapnel as a single blow. So that's fine, but it can't be one after another kind of thing. It is, however, very good for stream attacks. So like say a flamethrower, a laser blast, or a wind cannon. She could walk straight through that and smack it out like someone's hands or attack them. And it wouldn't pop the force field until after the attack is over. And if she's caught like an explosion, it'll actually push the explosion back once the force field pops from the pressure. She's a very versatile cape with a very big weakness, but the weakness is hard to take advantage of because she's flying around at 80 miles per hour, making you crap your pants. And you know, she hits like a missile kinda. Alright, so, Antares. Antares is Victoria Dallon. 4 years? Yeah, 4 years after the end of Worm. And her power is, at her peak, is very different. It's stronger, faster, more control of her aura. So as Antares, she has all the same powers, but with more flexibility. So for example, her force field now be shaped to different sizes and shapes, basically. Kind of like the T-1000 from Terminator, how it can take on different forms and different shapes and stuff. She can do that. They'll summon limbs from different locations, heads and legs. She can shape it into a giant cocoon around her to carry people around. She can detach it from herself and use that as an invisible minion to fight. The force field is also alive now, due to her shard, the fragile one, the alien weapon that gives her powers, taking control and defending her from attacks that she can't see. It's actually pretty good reaction times from this force field too, because like catches a rebar thrown at her at like I think 100 miles per hour. It's like deflects people who would try to touch her without her consent. It's very strong power. The people who try to punch her tend to get their legs and arms broken because it swipes back first. Oh, she can spin it around her to create like a giant tornado. Well, not really a tornado, but like a giant psych vortex. That's the word, vortex. On her to push away dust, debris, gas. Not that she has to worry about it because I forgot to mention it before, but her force field defends her against toxins, poisons, gas. Probably lack of air too, but we never see her use it underwater. But it does filter out the air for her. But what was I thinking? Yes, so her flight speed has picked up. Instead of 80 miles per hour, it now goes like at least well over 100 miles per hour, because when she was tracking a kid on a train, she mentioned that it was going well over 100 miles per hour, but she was keeping pace with it. So I usually put that like 150 to 200 miles per hour, but 150 sounds good to me. She tends to use flight a lot more liberally in her martial arts style. I call it martial arts, but I guess it's more like street fighting style because she's a dirty fighter. She'll spit in your eye, she'll bite, she'll do all sorts of things. Like, she'll aim for the crotch and stuff like that. She uses spikes on her costume as weapons. As you can tell, she's very spiky in this. And you kind of see hints of the force field right there. Like, oh yes, so as she uses it for impact, so imagine she coming at you 100 miles per hour with a flying knee, and it's just a metal brace hitting you in the face. She's done that to multiple opponents. She uses it so that someone tries to grapple her and toss her aside. She like Uno reverse cards them and has them flip over, or pulls them up into the air with her, or slams them to the ground when they try to throw her. Force field has more strength feats. So we see her match the strength of a giant mecha the size of an airplane. We see her match another mecha that can bust through houses, and though she's like slowly losing ground to it, it's still like impressive that she's able to hold on for like long minutes in terms of strength. And, oh, she tips over 18-wheelers. She throws trucks at like supersonic speed. She throws coins at like Mach 5 or something, because Mythbusters prove that Mach 3 coins can't pierce the human skull, and like it wouldn't be fatal. She throws pocket chains so hard that it not only kills a person, it kills a giant mutated version of herself with like multiple organs and larger skulls and stuff, and it just absolutely obliterates the corpse. So she can move her force field limbs very fast. Like, she tears apart a bug the size of a monster truck into pieces, and before her pieces hit the ground, she's already moving to a different swarm, killing that swarm, and before that swarm is dead, she's still moving she's moving across the battlefield before her body parts hit the ground. Her aura is more flexible now. She can control multiple emotions. She can do fear, hatred, anger, love, compassion, patience, acceptance, etc., etc. The only downside is that she has to experience the memories that invoke these emotions first. So if she wants to make someone feel sad, she has to think of a sad memory and experience that too. Ditto of anger, fear, etc. Okay, she has more awareness of its control, so it's larger than 100 feet now. I remember it feeling like an entire community center. It was huge. She knows that she can amplify if you touch her with her aura, or she hits you with her fist, with her aura, etc. It actually emotionally hurts. Like, when you get hit with it, it strikes to the core of yourself, and you actually flinch back. Like, one character describes it as like being under the glare of the sun, burning your skin, bit emotionally. And when they were stuck around her as she's blasting her aura, like he was like closey, like feeling like he was going insane because he just constant pain in his emotional core. So don't bad times for that. Oh, she has more equipment now. So she wears armor that's some steel titanium mix created by another superhero. It's pretty strong armor. It's bullet resistant. She has a bullet resistant gold mask that you don't see here. She has that. Steel spikes, so she uses weapons as usual. First aid kits. Okay, so she made a quick van brace buckler shield, and it's the same material as her armor. And it was so tough that a laser beam couldn't melt this metal, despite like her using it primarily as a shield, but along with her knee armor. Yes, her armor. Armor is laser resistant, bullet resistant, very good armor. She also has an armored coat, but we don't really see what it can do besides look factional and be badass. She does carry a TinkerTech eye implant, courtesy of her adopted child. Long story. But she has that implanted inside her brain. This allows her to hack into cameras, quickly open up views of maps around areas, highlight threats. It tends to update on emergencies and such like that. Very cool. Better eyesight in the dark, sort of, because it like messes with values. It doesn't have infrared vision, or technically night vision, but it can alter its saturation and stuff like that. So that's Antares in a nutshell, and Glory Girl in a nutshell. I know people are going to mention, like, what about Antares' gun? What about her gun? Two things on that. I'm not going to bring the gun into this debate. Sorry, gun chan lovers. Gun is not going to be this debate. It's unfair. I mean, it's a 12-ton gun that shoots, like, mountain-busting lasers that Victoria carries around. It's a little unfair against the I mean, she uses it to vaporize giant robot war machines and cut through skyscrapers. It's like, I don't think that's going to be in good faith of this debate. But also, speaking of 12-ton gun, one of her best strength feats, I completely forgot about this, was Victoria kicking that 12-ton gun up into the air so high that when it was coming down, it reached terminal velocity. Like, to understand terminal velocity, for a human, that's us like hitting the max fall speed in the atmosphere, and that's when we reach like 200 miles per hour. For Victoria to kick a 12-ton gun up that high, you would have to go much farther. It has to have a lot of force behind it. Like, that's insane. Like, I'm thinking that's like a close to like 100 tons of force. It's insane. Like, that's probably her best striking feat, and it's when she's like at or near her strongest, and she's like not holding back. She does it multiple times even. Like, she kicks her gun around so bad, it abuses the poor machine. Everyone teases her for it. It's seriously impressive strength feat for her. Obviously greater than any other predator. Alright, Glory Goal time. There we go. Okay, so for Glory Goal, the scenario I'm imagining is that each predator decides to come after her in Brockton Bay for some reason, or she's visiting some place, investigating these mysterious killings of people being skinned alive and hung upside down. Skulls and spine rips out, etc. You know how a predator works. So how would they do with the predators hunting Glory Goal? For one thing, they do pretty well in hunting, like stalking her, because she doesn't have at this point any extra. I just realized I forgot. So backpedal real quick to Antares. Antares has this thing has a shard called the Fragile One that gives her powers. At her strongest, the Fragile One gives her shard instinct or shard senses, which allows her to detect potential threats. Sort of like a spider sense. But it's a lot vaguer. She has to actually investigate it. She has to like actually come to her own conclusions about how it works. But yeah, so Antares has alien senses that allow her to detect danger to her, but it's very vague, and she has to actually investigate it. Okay, so that's done. That's quick. Back to Predator. So, Glory Girl does not have any of these senses yet. She's strong and stuff, but she doesn't have like the most senses that she has is like airflow, because her power is flight, so she has a natural sense of that. Would the hunter be able to successfully capture Glory Girl and tail her and skin her alive, etc.? I don't think so. I think the big issue with all these predators coming after her at different stages or different scenarios is that they can't see her force field. So I imagine like they blast her with a plasma caster and she shrugs it off and immediately chases after like who the fuck shot her. And of course you won't be able to find them because they're invisible. But can you imagine that? Like you're being a predator and you shoot something with a laser blast that can like char through steel and she just shrugs it off? Like she shrugs it off like someone threw a paper ball at her. That'd be terrifying. I mean, the predators are into it. Like that's their thing, but hunting-wise, like it's not gonna be very successful. So plasma caster is not gonna be very effective against Glory Girl. Surprisingly, the less high-tech weapon would be pretty okay. So like the feral predator's hypersonic arrows, because it doesn't have the plasma caster, it has these arrows that it launches from a gun that go like supersonic speeds. And I think that would actually be marginally more effective, in the sense that it wouldn't penetrate her shield, but if it fires like rapid fire, then maybe it would do it. The only other predator that could possibly do it might be the super predator, because he has a Gatling gun for plasma caster, and he can fire multiple laser blasts at the same time. But by the first time the first hit Glory Girl, she's gonna be out of the way, because she's gonna be like, fuck that, I'm gonna come after you after I recharge. Upgrade Predator doesn't have any range weaponry that could bypass the force field reliably. He does have rockets, I think, but again, rockets don't really hurt Glory Girl at all either. So that leaves like the spear or smart disc, which no, it's not gonna work very well. Spear bounces off of her, smart discs bounce off her. They might actually break. I'm just remembering a scene from Ward where the character tries to stab her with a knife and it snaps in half. And it's just like, what do you... It's a waste of a good knife. Like, what do you... Like, she takes bullets. Why would you think a knife works? Like, what's the logic here? So yeah, that's... A lot of their armaments aren't going to be good against Glory Girl. However, they have a great advantage in their athletic ability. Like, they can leap across buildings, through trees. They can, like, easily escape her notice. Their advantage is that they're invisible. They can track her. They can stalk her. And, like, there's not much she can actually do by herself. Like, because that's what this scenario is. Like, there's no support. She doesn't have her team. She doesn't have her family. So could they stalk her and maybe find a weakness? We don't tend to use poison or gas or anything like that. I could imagine them booby-trapping, like, her room or house with laser mines. But all that's going to do is piss her off, because she emerges from the rubble. Like, what the fuck? Oh, okay, there's a scene in AVP where one guy's, like, walking down the hallway and, like, a noose wraps around his neck, like, with razor wire, and lifts him up into the air by the predators. Imagine them trying that with Glory Girl. Like, she's just hanging around at, like, school, walking down the hallway, and she walks into a laser wire that tries to pull it up, and it just snaps. She doesn't even notice. That'd be pretty funny. Or it gets stuck on her tiara. But yeah, so hunting her is going to be a pain in the ass, because even if she can't hunt them back, what are they going to exactly do? Like, we'd have to get extremely lucky with getting her. Okay, so what can the predators do? So, would they try to match her in combat? Yeah, a few of them might. I can imagine the hunter, super, feral would be the types of thing that they could try to fight her mano a mano. Predators are tough. Like, we could probably tank one hit from a non-serious Glory Girl. Because they've tanked bullets, shotgun blasts, explosions, etc. I think the Feral Predator got shot in the back of the head and recovered. He's taken multiple musket shots and stuff. Super Predator, I think, took a 250 cals to the gut before he was, like, not even dead, but he was slowly dying. Hunter Predator needed to be crushed by a log. Well, not that impressive, but you know. So they could probably take one non-serious hit from Glory Girl if she finds them, or if they challenge her. After that, they're done. like I said, she can swing a bus like a baseball bat. She's gonna absolutely demolish him. The Upgrade Predator, who probably could manhandle all three of these other predators by himself. He might be able to take one serious hit from Glory Girl, like get sent flying through a building and come back unscathed for the most part, except for his armor being damaged. The thing is, Glory Girl can keep hitting him. What is he gonna do? He's being punked by some 17-year-old girl. Like, even if he keeps getting back up, she can just keep wailing on him and driving him to the ground like a fence post. Like, what is his plan? So I'm saying all of that this all requires them challenging her, or her finding them by accident, which isn't likely, because like, she's not a great tracker or hunters. They'll probably try to do something sneaky, like more booby traps, or they might just get lucky and kill her by accident with her force field being down. However, that's just one-on-one. If it's all four of them working together with their attack and stuff and planning ahead of time and dogpiling her and ambushing her, good odds in them getting a strong hit on Glory Girl that kills her. At least maybe 2 or 3 of them might die, probably the Hunter and Feral. But if they get her like in a boxed in, constantly having dodged laser blasts, arrows, trip mines, and stuff like that, and maybe the Upgrade Predator serving as like the muscle and tank, I could see it. It would be tough, but I could see it. Like, if Victoria doesn't zoom out of there, I imagine maybe they have human bait to keep her around. Like, it took the Siberian for her to leave, and Victoria's Glory Girl here didn't have any problem like fighting at least like 5 bitches mutant dogs that were the size of like rhinos. Okay, but anyways, yes, Glory Girl, can't she be hunted by one predator at a time? No, she probably does not die, but they probably could get lucky in killing her and hunting her, but not likely. Altogether, can they kill her? Probably, if they box her in with a hostage and make sure she can't leave. If she leaves, she can live to fight another day. Alright, so, verdict, 50-50. I'll give it 50-50 in terms of Victoria versus the entire Predator D&D party. Now for Antares. Yeah. Different story entirely. The Predators are fucked. They are screwed. Absolutely done. Dunzo. Because you know that camera implant that she has in her brain? It can track invisible opponents. We see it in the Arc 20 of War. It highlights her own force field and like gives her up-to-date information on it. I'm not even going to pretend that one of them can do it by itself. The entire Predator party would be needed, and they'd still fucking fail. She'd see them as gold highlights. She'd be aware that they're watching her because of her shard sense. Her shard instinct would tell her that she's being followed and stalked. She could chase after them, hunt them. She could hunt them down and beat them up for lunch money. She could steal all of her equipment. So I'm struggling to imagine a scenario where they ever succeed. Like this, the gap in power between Antares and Glory Girl is insane. And the gap between Antares and the Predators is even more insane. I was thinking about this, like, okay, so what, like, they can't stalk her, because she'll have a sense that they're there. If they attack her with, like, laser blasts and arrows, her shard's gonna warn her. But, yeah, so they try to blast her or whatever, her shard's gonna notice her, defend her, and she's gonna be able to see them with the implants. Even if she does get hit by a plasma caster, her armor's gonna defend her. Now, I'm not saying that the armor's gonna, like, do well in the aftermath, that she'll survive. She's not gonna die from it, so she'll still fly away. So their first ambush is gonna fail, and now they fucked up. Now they fucked up. The scar's gone. Now they fucked up. They got an angry Antares going on, and oh my gosh. So, to put into perspective, Victoria is so strong by the end of the series, right? You could have an entire Kate team trying to fight her and kill her, and she'd win. I'm pretty sure there's a scene in Ward where they try to, like, a bunch of mind-controlled capes trying to fight her, and she just nonchalantly solos them. And I think in another instance, entirely different mind-controlled cape team try to come after her. She kills most of them. She fills them all with holes from hypersonic rubble. Like, whatever. Now imagine a fucking Predator team being hunted down by this woman who's like flying into the atmosphere, tracking them from thousands of feet in the air, and dive bombing them at like 300 miles per hour, because, 200 miles per hour plus her top speed of like 150. 350 miles per hour? She's coming at you with a giant force field spinning. She's a frickin' missile. She obliterates the Predators, turns them into red mush and gibbets, fleshy bits. The only one that would survive is the upgrade Predator. And like, I survive. I mean, Victoria has to actually work a little bit to break him into pretzel bits. She breaks him like a Kit Kat bar, like satisfying crunches. Like at most, she keeps him alive. Some of their technology, cripples them, breaks their arm and stuff. Upgrade Predator probably has to have like every bone in his body broken for him to be crippled. So he's tough, but she kicked a fucking 12-ton cannon into the upper atmosphere. I'm sure everyone's wondering, like, Tom, are you exaggerating? Like, I know you're a Victoria stan, you got the vtuber set up, like maybe no, I'm not. I mentioned it before. She flips 18-wheel trucks. She literally overpowered a airplane-sized robot. Oh yeah, this is an Antares stomp. Oh. With Glory Girl, there's a chance, because, 17-year-old girl, and sort of inexperienced when it comes to these kind of situations. She doesn't have as many options. Would need a lot of effort, but, I can imagine the Predators getting the upper hand. Antares? Come on. Ain't no way. Final verdict of who would win. Number 3, Predators versus Glory Girl and Antares, aka Victoria Dallon. For Glory Girl, 50-50, depending on the scenario, especially if it's a group. Antares 100% stomp, crushed, annihilated these Predators. She's gonna turn them into a slurry. She's gonna take away all their tech and give them a lecture about the dangers of Tinker Tech. She's gonna tell them about how their actions represent the broader context of colonialism and how it's bad. She's gonna absolutely fucking kick their asses. Thank you, chat. Thank you, everyone, for coming to visit. Au revoir. Sayonara. Have a good day. This is Victoria Dallon's #1 fan.